And it turns out she just quit because she freaked out. And she went on Twitter today and she had an absolute typical female meltdown.
Well, I should serve out my term. Why don't you run for Congress?
That's what she says.
You should get off your ass and run for Congress. I've been fighting so hard.
She goes and she says,
What do you want? You want me to die like Charlie Kirk? Is that what you want? You want me to get killed like Charlie Kirk?
Are you kidding me? A congresswoman. Then it gets better. She comes back for more. Okay? Represent the congresswoman from Georgia. Representative Greene. This is a sitting congresswoman. She says, such a typical Republican man. Make your own dinner, ass. And clean up when you're done. It's like, oh my gosh.
Good morning, everybody, and happy Thanksgiving. We got to talk about Marjorie Taylor Greene for a minute here. So she's effectively resigning from her seat as a member of the U.S. House of Representatives, resigning early as of January 5th, I believe she said, because she wants to cash in. That's where she gets the bulk of her pay, where she's locked in for life. So that's when she's resigning, and people have been criticizing her a lot for this decision because, you know, a lot of people go out of their way to fight for your campaign during that season. A lot of people come out and vote for you. Some people, like disabled, try to find a way to get to the polls to vote for you. So a lot of people feel very disappointed, and she's been going back and forth online with people that are saying she should finish her term, and she's basically refusing and accusing them of being misogynistic. It's gotten totally out of control, but I'm not going to get into the drama on X about that. If you want to see that, then definitely go to X and you can check out her account. It's getting pretty dang explosive over there. But Scott Jennings appears to have some sort of insider information since he's close to the Trump campaign and cabinet. So Scott Jennings knows a thing or two that most people would not know. Let's go ahead and check it out together. By the way, guys, there's a new feature on YouTube where you can hype videos. So be sure to like the video, hype the video. It helps out a lot. Appreciate you.
Tell you the story to disparage her. I'm just going to tell you what I know to be true. She wanted to run for statewide office in Georgia. Mm-hmm. The White House knew this. She, I think, asked for their advice. The president heard about it. He had a poll that somebody gave him about the situation in Georgia. He discreetly and privately transmitted this information to her. And it showed her losing to Jon Ossoff by 20 points. It showed that if she were to run statewide, it would end in disaster and embarrassment. So he didn't exactly tell her not to run, but he gave her the kind of political information that you would interpret as, hey, this is not a good idea for you, and it's not a good idea.
I think Jon Ossoff took like a couple tries to win. So, I mean, if Jon Ossoff got cooked himself a couple times, then Marjorie Taylor Greene must just be unpopular, because I don't really think Jon Ossoff's popularity has increased that much, but let's keep going.
Interpret as, hey, this is not a good idea for you, and it's not a good idea for the party. Since the transmission of that information, which, by the way, he was doing her a favor. He was saving her from humiliation. Since the transmission of that information, she has opposed the president on his Middle East policy. She didn't like it when he bombed the Houthi rebels. She didn't like it when he took out Iran's nuclear facilities. She opposed him on deportations. She went on The View and attacked him, you know, over and over and over and over.
So you guys know, Marjorie Taylor Greene has both simultaneously criticized Trump for not deporting enough and also said that he shouldn't be deporting construction workers because she has a construction business.
As a conservative and as a business owner in the construction industry and as a realist, I can say we have to do something about labor, and that needs to be a smarter plan than just rounding up every single person and deporting them just like that. Right. So, and I'm going to get pushback on that, but I'm just living in reality from here on out.
Yeah.
And if anybody's mad at me for saying the truth, then I'm sorry.
Marjorie Taylor Greene, ladies and gentlemen, our next president. Sorry, JD Vance. Well, I mean, there's people are saying it. I go to dinner parties.
Yeah, I heard you.
Well, by the way,
I heard you on Joe Rogan.
But also saying that he should not be importing or not be granting H-1B visas for, you know, intelligent engineers and whatnot to come over here and take more technical roles to help strengthen America. Just, I don't know, just really odd. Like, I don't see an issue with, when we're talking about legal immigration, we've never said we had I mean, at least I don't have an issue. I can't speak for everybody watching this channel or anybody else, but I don't have an issue with legal immigration. Just people just walking across the border and sneaking drugs in and human trafficking. That's where the issue comes in. In terms of granting visas, it's like, seriously, guys, who cares? Just don't go overboard with it. But besides that, I got no problem at all.
She became a policy and political opponent of the president. And they believe it all goes back to that moment where they showed her a poll to try to do her a favor. Now, when he withdrew his endorsement of Marjorie Taylor Greene and basically said, okay, if you're going to attack me, I'm going to withdraw my support of you, what happened? She dropped out of Congress just a few days later. And so to me, this is really a story about political power and who controls it, who has it, and who has influence. And look, a lot of folks have been arguing Donald Trump's a lame duck. All I know is he withdrew his endorsement of Marjorie Taylor Greene, and like a week later, she's resigning from Congress.
Got cooked.
Doesn't sound like a lame duck to me. And so I don't know what to make of her statements about wanting to turn over a new leaf as it relates to bringing everyone together. But I don't know. I never understand why.
Marjorie Taylor Greene has specifically spoken out about being a uniparty and saying she doesn't want to just sing kumbaya with the Democrats, that she wants to support a conservative agenda and nothing else. So
yeah, that's what this is. The uniparty is make Ukraine great again.
I'm getting to the point where I almost don't care about the two parties anymore.
Oh, yeah.
I've just I'm like, why would I be loyal to one? And I definitely disagree with the other one.
Party. We're done with the Republican establishment. We're done with the uniparty.
I'll just say this, the uniparty is very real. That's why we never see any change
today and tonight, that there's no way we're supporting the uniparty. We don't support the WEF and we don't support the WHO.
Now it doesn't make sense to talk about unification. This is why I say that I understand people like Greene. Some people do. I think Greene is finessing you, honestly. If you like a really big fan of Greene, I think that she's doing something to support herself. In terms of exactly what she's trying to do, I don't know, but there's a reason why you suddenly start appearing on TV all over the place that you normally don't show up, and you're specifically opposing the president in every single thing that you're doing. That doesn't happen like normally just because, well, I'm more conservative than Trump. Like, no, that's not a normal thing for anybody to do. I don't care what anybody says.
Why people resign. Why are you resigning? Like, you got elected to a full term. Don't you feel some responsibility to your constituents to serve out the term? So I don't know. I mean, you got to be pretty mad to resign your job. And she doesn't work for Donald Trump. She doesn't work for anybody but the people who elected her.
Yeah.
And so I guess I kind of would have liked to have seen her serve out her term, because I think that's what you're supposed to do when you get elected. But she chose not to do that.
I would have liked to see that for a lot of reasons. And Scott, just to a little bit of that point she's making about the political establishment. I mean, she comes into Congress and gets sort of surrounded by the same swamp that in your book you really criticize as come to terms with and talk about having come to terms with over the course of your career. So how do you assess what that looks like in 2025, heading into year 2 of the second Trump administration? Or some of her frustrations here about the political Republican presidency, the glass is roughly half full rather than half empty.
So here's what I think. Politics is a team sport. And when you have the White House, the president is the head coach. And you're not always going to get your way. I mean, I think with Marjorie Taylor Greene and some of the other isolationists in the party, I think some of their problems with Donald Trump stem from his foreign policy views. I think the president has shown extreme moral clarity on his views on foreign policy. That's my personal view. And so I'm very happy with it. But it's obvious to me that they aren't. And some of this, I think, anger towards him from that wing of the party stems from what he has done to help Israel defeat the radical Islamic terrorists, to help Israel, basically bring Iran to its knees. They don't think we should be engaged in any of this. The president, of course, disagrees. And he thinks it's good to help our ally, and he thinks it's good to defeat these radical Islamic terrorists who constantly chant death to America. I tend to think the president is right about that. He's been right about it his whole life. He has never wavered on it. He has shown extreme moral clarity on it. And if you just now are realizing that the president is not a pure isolationist, and you're choosing this moment to be mad about it, why haven't you been paying attention, for 20 years, 30 years? So I think some of it stems from people who just, when they don't get their way, they get emotional and they throw a fit and they take their ball and go home. Politics is a team sport, and we have a president, and he calls the shots right now. You don't have to agree with everything, and you could certainly say, hey, maybe you should do it this way, or try to influence him that way. I mean, in my writing my book, I saw him taking in information and watching debates and making decisions after taking in information. You know, he is somebody who listens. But at some juncture, when you have a head coach, you got to run the play that the head coach wants to run. Even if you have some reservations about it, even if you don't agree with it all the time, you just have to accept that when you're in a political party and you aren't the president, you aren't necessarily the one who is setting the national agenda. He is. And so, you know, if you want to become a policy opponent of the president all the time, that's fine, but there are political consequences to that, and you shouldn't be surprised when they come for you.
It's really that simple, ladies and gentlemen. There's a lot of things to unpack there, but I'll try to keep it concise here. Marjorie Taylor Greene got upset that things were not going her way in terms of her increasing her political power and influence. She's tired of the games in Congress, at least according to her. She's tired of the games in Congress. So now she's throwing what appears to just be a massive tantrum, a tantrum so large that she's resigning. Let's not forget that President Trump was shot at he was shot at once, and somebody else almost shot at him that had a gun really close to him on his golf course. So 2 major assassination attempts that we know about. One of them actually hit the president, just didn't manage to, kill him because they were a couple of inches off. Marjorie Taylor Greene is saying she's concerned about her life, which I don't blame anybody in the public sphere that's conservative right now for being, for feeling some sort of way about, right? However, President Trump is still out there. You could say maybe Marjorie Taylor Greene doesn't have Secret Service protection, but she's also not as big of a name as President Trump. And if she's so worried about being assassinated or something, then how does going on shows like The View and CNN, how does that help? I mean, does maybe reversing course on some of your conservative values help? No, because she's specifically trying to say that she's not reversing course on her conservative values. So inevitably, it sounds like what she's saying is a bunch of freaking BS. That's just my opinion on it. But let me know what you guys think. Drop a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. I appreciate you guys watching the Black Anomaly. Rise channel. I'm out. Big shout out to my members, 655, Cat 3309, and Noodle. Could not do it without you.
I do think it started with that political engagement. When they sent her that poll, that's when you start to see everything change. She opposed the president on his Middle East policy, attacking the Houthi rebels, attacking Iran. She's opposed the president on deportations this summer. So she has sort of become a policy opponent of the president, but I think it really all started with that political engagement, and now she's one of his most frequent critics on some of what I would argue has been his biggest successes this year. And if you want to count yourself as an ally of the President of the United States, it's not great to go out and run out to The View and other places and crap on him 24 hours a day.